Hello and thanks again for joining us for another episode of RSFFL Live. We'd like to give a special shout out to our title sponsors, YPL with the Youth Passing League, who's done so much to support us this year. We've got a few other sponsors coming out this week. We've got D4 Thermal Shock. This is a cutting edge workout enhancer. They've been instrumental in ground and pounds, week in, week out approach on the ground. Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson have been known to take this supplement. And it's been really valuable to us moving forward and becoming the team that we are today. Guys are increasing their strength, increasing their flexibility, and continue to grow as individuals. We'd also like to give a special shout out to CVS Hand Sanitizer, who's been implemental in our health and wellness program as well, keeping us healthy, germs away. We always like to say 99.9% germ free, and they do that for us. ESPN, not only the home to our league, but also a major contributor. Get us all of our weekly materials, make sure we're well read on our opponents, league trends, things of that nature. They've just been very valuable to RSFFL as a whole, not only to our organization, but to the other remaining 11 organizations in the league. Hennessy Pure White. We know a lot of you guys have been having rough nights. Team Wood Paws, Hen Dog Susie Smackers in particular. You guys really been getting banged up on it. We'd once again like to give you a special shout out and thank you for coming on the show last week. I know it takes a lot of courage to step on out there after playing the way you've been playing, but we'd just like to say thank you once again. And you'll be getting your special shipment of Hennessy Pure White. I know it's something that you'll look forward to, and I hope it brings you the best. But let's get into this week's activities. We've had a trade between Hen Dog Susie Smackers and Team Wood Paws. Hen Dog Susie Smackers got Fred Jackson out of the deal, and Team Wood Paws got in return Cecil Shorts, who's been putting up a lot of numbers. Very interesting that Cecil Shorts, Fred Jackson gets traded 1 week, or 2 weeks after being traded for by Team Wood Paws. We'd also like to give some condolences to, well, not condolences, but just give our prayers to Adrian Peterson. We know he's having some family issues. We wish him the best. We'd like to give him our thoughts and prayers, and I know many of the other organizations in the league have sent in their thoughts and prayers, and we'd just like to relay that message to you, Mr. Peterson, and the Ground and Pound organization. But let's not wait any longer. Let's get into many people's favorite part of the show, the low rollers. We've got some very familiar faces here in the low rollers portion of the show. We've got Team Wood Paws, who put up 89 points. This is getting a bit nerve-wracking. I know there's been some owners wondering if he's doing this on purpose or what he's got going on. We've started talking about him speaking on this being a keeper league and really building for the future, but I hope he knows you can only keep 2 players. You can't really build much with only 89 points. I don't know what he's thinking or what he's trying to get to. We just wish and hope that he starts making some deals. He's got Calvin Johnson, a highly coveted piece in the league. Maybe he'll do something with them. I know that he recently reneged on a trade deal. So we just hope you get something done. We really wish you the best, and we hope that it works out for you. Another very familiar face, a former champion of this league, Hen Dog Susie Smackers, who's currently 1-4, got slapped again by All Aboard. Hen Dog Susie Smackers put up 96 points against another pretty run-of-the-mill team, All Aboard, who's been squeaking by with some wins. But hey, it's all about W's, All Aboard. As long as you're winning, you get to stay in that playoff contention, and maybe you'll be able to make a move in the future, because a move definitely needs to be done. and let's move on to high rollers. This high roller section is something that we're going to have a team that's been here quite a few times. They, I believe they're either leading the league in points or one behind. We'd like to give a special shout out to Coaches Cadets. You guys were led behind Peyton Manning in a very impressive performance. He put up 43 points. He's been just chugging along, putting points up week in and week out. And at this point, I really believe that he is the fantasy football MVP. Because without him, your team really doesn't look as strong as others may think. But you guys are getting it done week in, week out, and we just want to say congrats. And another team that made the High Rollers section of our show, Camp Creek Cartel. Camp Creek Cartel was led by Tony Romo, who put up an astounding, I believe he put up 51 points last week, which is phenomenal. Tony Romo has been a cog in his team, and Camp Creek Cartel, their record does not really show the type of organization that they have over there. Week in and week out, they put up a ton of points. They just have happened to get everybody else's best upper. Now, when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. Even the likes of Picasso Baby put up 117 points again, which is a complete aberration from his normal output. But let's move into power rankings. This was done by the RSFFL offices. We haven't been getting some of the support we need from the members of the league, and we'd really ask that you pick that up and help us out in getting more of a league-wide approach on our power rankings. But we'll start with number 5. Number 5 is Houston Hustlers. They put up a ton of points. They've just been chugging along. At this point, Houston Hustlers is 4-1. They win a bunch of games, put up 129 points. They're consistent as can be. Camp Creek Cartel, after your performance last week, you really shown us that you guys consistently have the ability to put up points. However, we just got to see about your defense. You guys pretty much let everybody put up their season high against you every single week. Number 3, we've got Arian Foster Care, another top team in the league. It was really tough putting these guys at either 2 or the 3 spot. Because, I mean, they've got a really good ball club. We really like what they've been doing. Number 2, we've got SWAT Kings, who had a lower performance last week, but the consistency they've had previously really allows me to put them at this 2 spot. We think they have a really good program. They've got a lot of pieces, but we're going to need some of their pieces to continue to step up. They had a slow start to this week's approach by Alshon Jeffries, who only had 1 catch for 27 yards last night. And in our number 1 team in our weekly power rankings, we're going to have to give that to Coaches Cadets. Once again, want to give you our hats off. I know the ground and pound owner doesn't like you, but this guy sitting right here, the representative of the show, Quincy Avery, has to give you guys our salute. We think you guys are doing an excellent job. Keep up the good work. My real favorites as Quincy Avery, not the ground and pound owner, to win the league at this point are the Coaches Cadets, Arian Foster Care, and SWAT Kings. You guys are really the cream of the crop. And once again, we'd like to give you a shout out. And we'd also like to give another special shout out to They Say Who That. You guys put up a ton of points. You guys are doing a great job. You guys have faced a series of unfortunate events. But it can only get better from here. It can't get any worse. Unless you're Teamwood Paws or Hen Dog Susie Smackers. And I guess it could get worse. You could score 70 points on a consistent basis rather than the 80s and 90s that you've been doing. But let's get into this week's games. We've got a lot of big games out there. It was really tough to pick a game of the week this week, but we'll get to that. We've got Lynch Mob versus Ground and Pound. This should be a tightly contested game. I thought of this as the game of the week, but I didn't want to select myself, and I also don't want to pick a winner, which really prevented me from making this the game of the week. I know that Lynch Mob has a ton of good pieces. He's led behind the strong legs of Marshawn Lynch and Noshawn Moreno. He's got a bunch of great guys on his team, and we think he can do a lot. Ground and Pound, they're unaware if they'll have Adrian Peterson available, which will really change the landscape of this game. And I think we should see a hard-fought contest. But let's move on to another game. Houston Hustlers versus Coaches Cadets. This is going to be a big-time game with a lot of points being scored. We've got 2 4-1 teams. And this actually is our game of the week. Houston Hustlers versus Coaches Cadets. I know I got to a little bit early. I wanted to come back to it, which I will. So I won't give you my pick on that game. We've got They Say Who That versus Teamwood Paws. I don't think we need to go into much game. We got 2 1-4 teams. However, one 1-4 team is significantly better than the other. That team being They Say Who That. I could talk about all the guys on this team. We could talk about Drew Brees, or we could talk about Alfred Morris, Denarius Thomas, Eric Decker, the Seattle Seahawks defense. He's got a bunch of guys who week in and week out may not be the biggest names on the market, but they put up points. Team would pause. He's got Tom Brady who's really been stinking it up. You may want to trade him. Heads up. Calvin Johnson, who didn't participate last week. I could go on and on with this roster. He's actually got some guys with names that look like they get something done, but the production hasn't been there. Maybe you can trick somebody. You can just sell them a name. If you do that, you may have a chance. We've got Hendog Susie Smackers versus SWAT Kings. The SWAT Kings really started out poorly on Thursday, but I'm not going to use that in my prediction. I'm still going to select them to win the game. Hendog Susie Smackers have not been able to crack the 100-point mark more than once or twice. I hate to keep beating a dead horse, so I'm not going to talk about the game much more. I'm going to go with SWAT Kings on that one. We got Picasso Baby versus Arian Foster here. This game looks to me to be a blowout waiting to happen. Arian Foster Care, one of the top teams of the league. He's just going to put up points. That's what's going to happen. Jay Cutler came out Thursday, just started getting it done. Arian Foster, Frank Gore. You know Demarius Thomas is going to put up points. They go against Jacksonville this week. They may go on and score 70 points. Who knows what's going to get done. Antonio Brown going against the Jets. Jason Witten, you know Jason Witten gets a ton of touches. And then for Picasso Baby, he doesn't have much. He doesn't have much. Cam Newton maybe. I don't see anything happening. I don't even see him cracking 100 points. I don't think we need to talk about that game much more. Arian Foster here. And let's move on to 3Cs versus All Aboard. Now the 3Cs have put up points week in, week out. All Aboard has not. Although All Aboard's record is 3-2, he will be moving to 3-3 this week, per my predictions. Tony Romo, Vince Jackson, Wes Welker, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham is another fantasy stud. Get it done all the time. Now, Night Train Lane does have LaShawn McCoy, who's been one of the top guys in fantasy football. He may be able to make it competitive, but I don't see much happening. But let's get more in depth to this Houston Hustlers versus the Coaches Cadets and see what we really have going on here. We've got two of the top teams in our league going head-to-head. And then we're just going to look at position by position. And we know at one position that the Coaches Cadets have this game at, we're going to say the quarterback position, Peyton Manning. However, at the running back position, it looks like Houston Hustlers is a little bit stronger at both spots with Ray Rice and DeMarco Murray rather than Bilal Powell and Eddie Lacy. However, those guys have been pretty consistent getting it done. But at the wide receiver position, this is where Coaches Cadet hangs their hats. Brandon Marshall, A.J. Green, Des Bryant. He's got a questionable Rob Gronkowski in. We've heard many reports that he will not be playing today versus Brandon Pettigrew for the Houston Hustlers. And then the defense. Coaches Cadets have the Broncos, who happen to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. And nothing good happens when the team you're playing has a defense that's facing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I can tell you that. I've been there before and I've seen the work. And then kicker, that's really a scratch. Who knows who's going to win that one? I'm going to have to pick Coaches Cadets. I've really raved about them all episode. Want to give them another special shout out. And now this is a report from the ground and pound owner, Quincy Avery. I'd like to give a special my thoughts and prayers to Adrian Peterson. We're going to bow our head in a moment of thoughts for Adrian Peterson, his family, and his son. All right, let's get back to it. That's been a great episode from the RSFFL live offices. We wish each and every one of you guys the best. Some of you guys need to get on the ball, make some moves, make something happen.